Hello and welcome to Lost Love Mystery, where we explore the twists and turns of love, the pain of betrayal, and the mysteries that lie hidden in the heart. Mark's journey as a dynamic and confident professional began when he joined a reputed multinational company in 2008. The company was listed on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange, renowned for its financial strength and innovative approach. Mark's role as the head of Forex and Treasury in the accounts department was pivotal, demanding exceptional analytical skills and strategic foresight. His sharp intellect and composed demeanor earned him respect among colleagues and superiors alike. Despite his high-pressure responsibilities, Mark navigated the challenges with poise, becoming an integral part of the organization. 2 years into his career, the company onboarded a new recruit named Ananya. She joined as a company secretary on a junior-level post, focusing on compliance and regulatory tasks. Ananya was ambitious, talented, and dedicated. With her meticulous work ethic, she quickly gained recognition for her expertise in stock exchange regulations. Mark, being 2 years her senior, discovered an interesting coincidence. They had both attended the same school, though they had never interacted. Mark graduated 2 years before Ananya joined, leaving their paths unconnected until their shared professional environment brought them together. Their initial interactions were purely professional, revolving around compliance reports, financial projections, and regulatory updates. However, Ananya's frequent visits to Mark's department for work-related discussions slowly broke the ice. Her confidence and clarity impressed him, while his calm and solution-oriented approach left her intrigued. Their conversations extended beyond the confines of their office walls. Gradually, they began sharing casual banter during coffee breaks and discussing topics unrelated to work. One evening, an unexpected compliance issue arose, requiring their combined expertise to address it effectively. Working late into the night, they uncovered shared interests and values that deepened their camaraderie. Ananya admired Mark's decisiveness, while Mark appreciated her sharp intellect and unwavering commitment. This marked the beginning of a friendship that grew stronger with time. Despite their growing bond, both maintained their professional demeanor within the office. Their interactions were marked by mutual respect and a subtle understanding that hinted at an underlying connection. Ananya's charm and beauty did not go unnoticed, but she remained grounded, focused on her work and aspirations. The corporate setting provided the perfect backdrop for their evolving relationship. Deadlines and challenges brought them closer, fostering a bond rooted in trust and admiration. Little did they know, their shared journey would soon lead to a profound transformation, setting the stage for a story filled with love, dreams, and unforeseen trials. As time passed, the connection between Mark and Ananya grew deeper. While their work dynamic thrived on professionalism, their personal bond began to take shape in unexpected ways. Ananya's promotion came shortly after she expertly handled a critical stock exchange compliance issue, which had initially threatened the company's reputation. Her ability to draft a flawless, compelling response earned her accolades from the top management. Mark observed her rise with genuine pride, admiring her relentless drive and grace under pressure. Despite her growing prominence in the office, Ananya stayed grounded, often seeking Mark's input for key decisions. Their frequent collaboration allowed them to understand each other's strengths and values. Outside the confines of work, casual conversations started flowing naturally. Weekend coffee outings became a ritual, accompanied by endless discussions about life, dreams, and aspirations. Ananya spoke of her journey, her struggles, and her passion for her work. Mark found himself captivated by her charm and authenticity. The office environment only seemed to intensify the subtle chemistry between them. Mark was drawn to Ananya's confidence and her ability to stay composed under stress, while Ananya admired Mark's leadership and calming presence. Their colleagues occasionally teased them about their closeness, but they brushed it off with laughter, choosing to keep their budding relationship low-key. One day, an after-work celebration for completing a major project brought them closer. Amidst the laughter and casual camaraderie of their colleagues, Mark found himself stealing glances at Ananya. She, too, seemed to linger near him, engaging in conversations that felt more personal than professional. That evening, as they walked out of the office together, Mark mustered the courage to ask her out on a proper date. Ananya's smile and soft, yes, marked the beginning of a beautiful new chapter. Their first date was simple yet magical. Over dinner, they talked for hours, sharing stories and memories that revealed their shared love for challenges and ambitions. Mark, who had always believed in taking calculated risks, found himself diving headfirst into the possibility of love. Ananya, guarded yet hopeful, opened her heart to someone who genuinely appreciated her for who she was. Over the next 3 years, their relationship blossomed. They supported each other through career milestones, celebrated successes, and weathered tough times together. Their love became the foundation of their shared dreams. By 2010, Mark and Ananya decided to take their relationship to the next level, exchanging vows in a heartfelt ceremony surrounded by close friends and family. Mark and Ananya's married life began with a perfect blend of love, companionship, and mutual respect. Their days were seamlessly intertwined, with mornings spent commuting to the office together, working on challenging projects during the day, and evenings dedicated to unwinding in each other's company. Both ambitious in their careers, they supported each other's professional growth while nurturing a deeply personal bond at home. The early days of their marriage were filled with small joys and moments of pure happiness. Mark would often surprise Ananya with her favorite flowers or a handwritten note, while Ananya ensured their home was always warm and welcoming, a sanctuary away from the hustle of their demanding jobs. Their shared understanding of work pressures allowed them to appreciate the balance they had cultivated between their professional and personal lives. In the office, they maintained a professional demeanor, never allowing their personal relationship to interfere with their work. Mark continued to lead his department with unwavering focus, while Ananya excelled in her role, handling complex compliance tasks with precision. Despite their busy schedules, they made time for each other, whether it was a quick lunch in the office cafeteria or a late-night movie after a long day. Their physical relationship was equally fulfilling, driven by their deep emotional connection. They cherished every moment of intimacy, which became a source of strength and comfort amidst the stress of their high-pressure jobs. Mark often marveled at how effortlessly Ananya balanced her responsibilities, both at work and at home. And Ananya admired Mark's ability to remain calm and composed in even the most challenging situations. 2 years into their marriage, they began to entertain the idea of expanding their family. The thought of a child brought a new layer of excitement and hope to their lives. After careful consideration, they decided to stop using precautions and start planning for a baby. The decision was mutual, reflecting their readiness to embrace parenthood together. However, as months passed with no sign of a positive result, a sense of quiet frustration began to build. Mark, always pragmatic, suggested consulting a doctor to ensure there were no underlying issues. Ananya agreed, though her focus had started to shift due to changes in her career. She had recently received an offer to join another prestigious company as a company secretary, a role she saw as a significant step forward in her professional journey. The balance they had once mastered started to falter as new challenges began to emerge, setting the stage for unforeseen trials ahead. Mark and Ananya's decision to start a family brought with it a wave of anticipation and excitement. They envisioned a future filled with laughter and the joy of raising a child together. However, as months turned into a year without success, their optimism began to waver. Mark, ever pragmatic, encouraged Ananya to consult a doctor, hoping to address any underlying concerns early on. Ananya agreed, but her new job began to consume her time and energy. Ananya had recently joined another prestigious listed company as a company secretary. The opportunity came with more responsibilities and challenges, but also promised significant career growth. Her new role often required her to stay late, handling intricate compliance issues and high-level meetings with the company's top executives. Mark, while supportive of her ambitions, started noticing subtle changes in their relationship. Their physical intimacy, once a cornerstone of their marriage, began to decline. What used to be an every-other-day ritual dwindled to once a week, with Ananya frequently citing exhaustion or a lack of interest. Mark, though concerned, attributed this to the stress of her new job. He reminded himself of how hard she had worked to reach her position and chose to give her space. Meanwhile, the struggles of their family planning weighed heavily on both of them. Mark quietly hoped that the change in her career was just a temporary distraction and that their shared dream of becoming parents would soon come true. Ananya, however, seemed increasingly distant. Her late hours at work became more frequent, and her once enthusiastic discussions about starting a family turned lukewarm. The tipping point came when Ananya began excusing herself from the few intimate moments they managed to share. Her explanations, though plausible, began to feel rehearsed to Mark. Nights when she claimed to be working late at the office became more common, and her behavior at home became more detached. Mark's growing unease coincided with whispers he began hearing from a few colleagues. A junior employee who had recently joined Ananya's company hinted at rumors about her closeness to the company's CEO. Mark brushed off the comments initially, trusting Ananya implicitly. However, the doubts planted in his mind began to take root, especially as her behavior continued to shift. Despite the rising tension, Mark tried to hold on to the belief that their struggles were temporary. He kept his focus on their shared goal of starting a family, unaware that a darker reality was unfolding behind the scenes. Mark's life took a devastating turn when his trust in Ananya began to crumble under the weight of undeniable evidence. The whispers from his junior colleague about Ananya's closeness to her company's CEO, initially dismissed, started to resurface in his mind. Mark, a man of logic and reason, decided to investigate discreetly. He wanted clarity, not only for his own peace of mind, but to salvage the marriage he had worked so hard to build. The first crack in his belief came when his junior employee forwarded him photos and messages circulating within Ananya's new workplace. The pictures, though seemingly casual, carried a subtle undertone that was hard to ignore. Ananya and the CEO often seen together in private moments at office events. Mark's unease grew deeper when he learned about the CEO's private rest area within his office, equipped with every amenity from a bed to a personal servant. It was a place many employees whispered about, but no one dared to openly question. Mark began connecting the dots. Ananya's late nights, her declining interest in their physical relationship, and her emotionally distant behavior all pointed to something far more troubling than mere career stress. The idea that his wife, the woman he had loved and trusted unconditionally, could be involved with someone else was unbearable. Yet, the mounting evidence was impossible to ignore. One evening, as Ananya walked in late again, Mark confronted her. His voice trembled with a mix of anger and heartbreak as he laid out the rumors, the photos, and the unsettling behavior she had displayed over the past year. Ananya, caught off guard, denied everything vehemently. She called the rumors baseless and accused Mark of doubting her loyalty without concrete proof. Despite her denial, Mark couldn't shake off the feeling of betrayal. The evidence sent by his junior colleague included more than just photos. Text messages exchanged between Ananya and the CEO hinted at a relationship that extended far beyond professional boundaries. Mark's heartbreak turned into a simmering rage as he realized the extent of the deceit. Though Ananya continued to deny the accusations, her excuses grew weaker under Mark's relentless questioning. The emotional toll on him was unbearable. Nights that once ended with warm embraces now ended in cold silence. Mark, a man who had always taken pride in his self-control, found himself grappling with a storm of emotions he could no longer contain. The once perfect marriage now stood on the brink of collapse, leaving Mark to question how the love they had shared could have turned into something so unrecognizable. The tension between Mark and Ananya escalated with each passing day. The house, once filled with laughter and warmth, now felt cold and suffocating. Mark, despite his heartache, tried to maintain his composure, but the mounting evidence of Ananya's betrayal made it impossible to ignore the truth. Ananya, on the other hand, continued to deflect his accusations, insisting on her innocence while growing more distant. One fateful evening, Mark's pent-up frustration reached its breaking point. After another late night at the office, Ananya returned home to find Mark waiting for her. His eyes burned with anger and hurt as he confronted her yet again. This time, he presented explicit evidence, a series of intimate messages between her and the CEO that left little room for doubt. The messages revealed not only a personal relationship but also details of their encounters in the CEO's private office rest area. Ananya's usual defenses faltered. She stumbled through weak denials before finally admitting to the affair. Her confession came with excuses. the stress of their unsuccessful attempts at having a child, her need for validation, and the allure of the CEO's power and charm. Each word felt like a dagger to Mark's heart, shattering whatever remained of his trust and love. In a moment of sheer agony and betrayal, Mark's alpha instincts took over. Unable to control his emotions, he slapped Ananya, the weight of his heartbreak and anger driving his actions. Ananya, shocked and enraged, immediately retaliated, not physically but by calling her lover, the CEO, to come to her defense. Minutes later, the CEO arrived at their home, his demeanor smug and confrontational. The sight of him standing in Mark's living room ignited a fire within Mark. He lunged at the CEO, fists flying in a flurry of rage and despair. The confrontation quickly turned physical, with Mark overpowering the CEO, fueled by the pain of betrayal and the humiliation of the situation. Ananya, horrified by the scene, called the police. When the authorities arrived, they found a disheveled Mark, the bruised CEO, and a distraught Ananya. All three were taken to the police station, where the situation spiraled further out of control. Ananya refused to return home after the incident, leaving with the CEO instead. Days later, Mark received divorce papers, a cruel punctuation mark on what had once been a story of love and devotion. The betrayal, humiliation, and heartbreak marked the end of a chapter he had never imagined would close this way. Mark sat alone in the once shared home, now eerily silent, a stark contrast to the vibrant life it once held. The divorce papers lay on the coffee table, a glaring reminder of the love story that had unraveled into a nightmare. The betrayal he had uncovered had left a void within him, a deep ache that refused to subside. In the days following the confrontation, Mark struggled to make sense of everything. He was a man who had always prided himself on his strength and composure, yet this betrayal had shaken him to his core. The memories of their happy moments, the laughter, the dreams, the promises, kept resurfacing, clashing painfully with the reality of what had transpired. Ananya's absence was palpable. The house, once filled with her presence, felt alien now. Her belongings remained untouched, as if mocking Mark's attempts to move on. The divorce papers demanded a response, but Mark found himself unable to muster the will to address them. Every signature required felt like an admission of defeat, an acknowledgement that the life they had built was beyond saving. The office, once a place of solace and purpose, became a battleground of whispers and sympathetic glances. Mark's colleagues, aware of the rumors and the fallout, treated him with a mix of pity and caution. He hated it. The alpha in him rebelled against being seen as vulnerable, as a man brought to his knees by betrayal. Despite the emotional turmoil, Mark resolved not to let the situation define him. He threw himself into his work, using it as a distraction from the chaos in his personal life. The numbers and strategies that once fueled his professional passion now became his refuge. Late nights at the office became his new normal, not out of necessity but to avoid returning to an empty home filled with memories. Meanwhile, news of Ananya's new life with the CEO began to surface. They were often spotted together at high-profile events, their relationship no longer a secret. The public display of their union, so soon after the divorce papers were filed, was a bitter pill for Mark to swallow. Yet, it also fueled his resolve to rebuild his life. Mark knew he couldn't undo the past, but he could shape his future. The betrayal had scarred him, but it had also ignited a fire within him to rise above the pain. He vowed to reclaim his life, his confidence, and his sense of self-worth. The road ahead was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Mark would emerge stronger, a man forged by fire, ready to face whatever life had in store. The days after Mark signed the divorce papers were some of the darkest he had ever faced. Yet, in those moments of solitude and pain, he discovered an inner strength he never knew he possessed. Mark, the alpha who had built a stellar career, realized that his worth was not tied to the betrayal he had endured, but to the resilience he could summon in its aftermath. Determined to rebuild his life, Mark began focusing on himself. He channeled his pain into a rigorous fitness routine, transforming his body and sharpening his mind. Early morning runs replaced the restless nights, and hours at the gym became a sanctuary where he could vent his frustrations. Each drop of sweat felt like a step forward, away from the shackles of his past. Professionally, Mark's dedication to his work reached new heights. He took bold initiatives in the Forex and Treasury department, earning the trust and admiration of his superiors. His strategic brilliance and ability to remain unshaken under pressure caught the attention of the company's board. Talks of his promotion to a more prominent leadership role began circulating, a testament to his resilience and professionalism despite the personal turmoil. Socially, Mark reconnected with old friends and colleagues who stood by him during his difficult times. He began attending networking events and making new connections, gradually rebuilding his confidence in relationships. Though the scars of betrayal lingered, Mark refused to let them define how he viewed himself or others. One evening, at a corporate gala, Mark met Maya, a marketing consultant with a sharp wit and an infectious laugh. She wasn't just beautiful. She radiated a warmth that immediately drew people in. Their conversation started with light banter about the financial markets, but quickly delved into deeper topics. Mark found himself opening up to her, sharing parts of his story that he hadn't voiced to anyone. Maya listened without judgment, offering insights that were both compassionate and empowering. She, too, had faced challenges in her life, and her perspective on overcoming them resonated with Mark. What began as a chance meeting blossomed into a friendship, and over time, a relationship built on mutual respect and understanding. With Maya's support, Mark learned to let go of the bitterness that had once consumed him. He began to see his past not as a series of mistakes, but as lessons that shaped him into the man he had become. As the months turned into years, Mark emerged stronger and more focused than ever. His career soared, his personal life flourished, and he found himself living with a renewed sense of purpose. Betrayal had tested him, but it had not broken him. Instead, it forged him into a man who could face life's challenges head-on, with the confidence that no storm could ever extinguish his fire.